All right, Hammers Nation, Alex, with you this week. A wacky week of Week 5 Premier League, and we're going to cover that. I've got a guest today, Wally World.
Hey.
Did the Moose up front tell you?
Absolutely.
Outstanding. Love. It's
Wally
great movie, and anytime anybody brings up Moose, I have to talk about John Candy. So thanks for coming on. Wally, tell us a little bit about yourself. Obviously a West Ham fan. You got your gear back there.
Absolutely, yeah.
You were telling me before the show kind of how you got into it, and you feel free to kind of elaborate on that.
Yeah, so I was on the American Hammer show a while ago.
Yeah.
And but you know what? They didn't give me the 30 or the 10 questions or whatever. But anyway, but they did ask me about my origin story for for Hammers, and I was in London in 1970 in 5th grade, and I was my parents we moved over there, and I went to the American School of London there, and all the kids were first day of school is like, what team are you, and I didn't know any of the teams, so they were like, well, there's Chelsea and Arsenal, Man United, or whatever. And one kid was like, oh, there's this team Tottenham. And I'm like, what else is there? And another kid is like, there's this team in East London called West Ham. And I said, what's their story? And they said, well, they won the World Cup in 1966. And I said, that sounds good to me.
I'll take that one.
Yep. So ever since then, I've always said I was West Ham. Now I never went to a game there at that time.
Now, at that time, could you have been considered a bandwagon guy?
Oh, I was just a kid, so I didn't even know what a bandwagon was. But
I think you probably would have been a bandwagon guy at that time.
Well, it was 4 years later, though, so I think they had already had another World Cup and lost. So maybe
that's true. That is a good point.
But I think Bobby Moore was still on the team.
Actually, that's a fascinating. If anyone has had a chance to watch this, I don't know if you have like Amazon Prime. Do you have Amazon Prime?
I do. Yeah.
There is an amazing documentary about Bobby Moore.
Oh, really?
Yes, it is. I actually cried at the end. I mean, not like cry at the end of The Natural with Robert Redford, not that kind of cry, but I did. It was very sad because just where he was, where he came from, the beginning to the end. I mean, it was a lot of things I did not know. Mm-hmm. It was a very fascinating story. It was very a very good, well put together. Had a lot of great interviews, a lot of great film footage of things, and not just soccer. I mean, it was just not the football part of it, but just socially. Like basically, he became like they were like the Rolling. I mean, he's hanging out with like the Stones. Like, oh really? Yeah, I mean, cool. He was like that really during that time. They kind of put football in a mainstream like rock and roll kind of vibe to it. So it was it was big. It was definitely a big time.
Yeah, I know. I used to get some credibility because we moved to Coventry, and I spent like 5 years in an English school in Coventry, and the kids were like, what team? And I said West Ham, and they were all like Coventry City or whatever. So yeah. But I'd get some credibility because back in those days, like all the skinheads were out, and West Ham was like the hard team. So so I did get some credibility from that. But
now we do have another guest coming on. Sam Huston, one of the hosts of the Drunkard United football show. He is a supporter of another team, and I will let him bring that up to you. And he works for Whistle Pig Rye Whiskey. So he can't be that bad. He's got to be a good dude. In some regards, he's got to be a good guy. So waiting on him. He actually coaches a team and does a little pickup indoor soccer. So we've got Jim on here and Neil from Australia. So
Good morning, Neil.
Yeah, love some Neil. So thanks for coming on. And one of the topics we wanted to cover, and I don't know how much you want to contribute to this. Like I said earlier, an opinion is like an ass. Everyone has one. Some are just better looking than others. So the topic for today is the premium defenders. Everybody at the beginning of the draft was like, you got to draft the premium defenders. You got to get Van Dyke. You got to get TAA. You got to get all these guys, because obviously they're paying double points. They're actually, they should get you the points that you're looking for.
How do they earn? Help me out here, because I don't know much about fantasy. How do they earn points as defenders?
Well, you can either excellent question. You either earn points from clean sheet, or your points are actually, I think, double or actually tripled if you're a defender. So obviously they don't score as much as the other guys. So
right. Okay,
you would actually think that with the play that some of these teams are going with, Arsenal Sam, Jim, I don't know, Arsenal Sam or Everton. Yes, Everton. Yes. So so really the point was at the beginning of the year, everybody's like, draft these guys. Mm-hmm. Last week the totals were horrendous, and just kind of give you a perspective, real quick, of last week's. So let's kind of look at this. See, this is the listing of all the players' total points. Mm-hmm. Now, I would expect Aguero, Pukki, Salah, Abraham, those guys are always going to have a lot of points.
Right.
The best defender on this list currently, point-wise, is Vestergaard from Southampton.
I haven't even heard of him.
And then, to put it in perspective one more time, and this is pretty fascinating, transfers out this week. Actually, didn't get transfers out this week. Transfers out. Okay. Defenders. Kelly. Van Dyke.
Mm-hmm.
Robertson.
Oh, wow.
I mean, the list goes on and on. Van Holt, of people that are dropping defenders.
Yeah.
So I just, I really wanted to kind of bring that up, and maybe, it's something to think about. Is that, was this kind of like a snow job? Did everybody just kind of say, hey, look, these are the guys that you need to get. And a lot of people put their money into guys that aren't performing. So I think that's why you're starting to see a lot of guys kind of blow the wild card. And I know, Wally, this is kind of, we're kind of starting over like, 1.0, because you said you did a team, but you really haven't looked at it, or
I have not looked at it. No,
given it a second thought.
I let the computer pick it for me. And then the one move I made was I had the Chilean guy who got moved out over to.
We're gonna have to give you an overhaul. It's like a makeover.
I know. We're gonna need a makeover on my team.
We're gonna need a makeover really quick. Actually, I'm gonna go through some of the games this week, but just for fun, since we're on here now, let's see if we can find your team.
Yeah, I don't even know what they're doing.
And we'll have a little fun here.
Yeah.
I got a feeling that you're probably toward the bottom.
I would suspect, yeah, because I haven't touched it.
I'll just start from the bottom and go back up.
I'm not even sure what my team name was, but hopefully I'll recognize.
I thought it was Wally World.
Is it? Okay, good.
I thought it was. I remember that.
That would make sense if I did that.
Well, you're not the worst.
No, I'm not.
At least, I mean, I can't find you, but you're not in the bottom.
Yeah, perfect.
I don't. Are you sure it was Wally?
Yeah. See, no.
You might not be as bad as you think.
Yeah.
No trouble finding here.
Yeah, like
Wally.
I probably should have looked it up beforehand.
Yeah, look it up if you can get on.
Yeah. What's it on the Premier? What is it?
Yeah, the Premier League. We'll go to that one. And let's see. I don't see it right now. Maybe that might be the case. Maybe you just never got in.
Maybe I didn't save it or something.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's see here.
Fantasy Premier League, my team. Okay.
So tell me real quick. Let's see what you think about the game Saturday or yesterday? Yesterday. What'd you think? Did you watch it?
Oh yeah, I watched it. I thought the second half, after we went a man down, I thought it was over, but we really knuckled down, and I I like the way they played then. But I'll tell you what, those yellow cards for Masuak, especially the second one. I mean, I don't even think the guy touched him.
Oh, it was a joke.
Yeah, he, total dive, rolling around in agony, and so they brought out a yellow card. Okay, so here's my team.
Okay.
It's called Valley Forge Iron because I live right next to Valley Forge. So
where are you ranked?
Overall points 207. Is that ranked? Oh, within.
Oh, I got it. You're 202.
202 out of.
You're not in the bottom.
I am at the bottom.
No, you're not.
Oh, I'm not the bottom. Perfect.
No, you're not at the bottom. So there's just something said for not even trying. It's like office space. You're not even trying, and you're just still in there. So here's what you got for the. We're waiting on actually. Our other guest is about to come on in just a moment. Let's go over your team real quick and maybe get some fantasy.
Get some good laughs. Yeah.
Well, we got Hilaire. You got Callum Wilson. I mean, the thing about it is last week everybody sucked anyway, so you pretty much were in a good position. Right. As far as if we wanted to have a makeover, I would get rid of Sanchez.
So I need to trade him out?
We can get with you on that. You don't really have. I mean, it wouldn't be hard to get some of these fixed up for you. So we could definitely do that. I mean, Jim does this all day, and you're still winning.
Oh, so nice.
Actually, Neil, we're just going to talk about the touch here, and is this something? And maybe you guys can comment on this. Two guys, is this something you can appeal? I mean, can you appeal this and not get that second yellow revoked? Trade out Sanchez, play fewer defenders. Jim has a middle finger. I'm not really sure what that's all about, but apparently we've made Jim mad.
Well, I'm above him, so that maybe.
Oh, maybe he's flipped me the bird because I said that's all he does is sit at home. All right, we got another participant. Hello, sir.
Howdy, boys. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
I really do appreciate it. So got our second guest of the night, Sam Huston. You're not from Texas, I take it.
And ironically, my middle name is Dallas, and no, I'm not from Texas.
Shut up.
No way.
Yeah,
wow.
Samuel
Why
Dallas
did your parents do that to you?
Did just a cruel trick, I assume.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, that's pretty messed up.
Houston spelled without the O, though. So
I did notice that. I thought it was a typo. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure. So,
and I'm somehow a Redskins fan. So,
ooh,
the irony, just all over the place. So, Sam, tell me a little bit about yourself. I mean, obviously, we kind of connected on Twitter. Host of the Drunkard United football show, and full disclosure. If this is like Fox News, you're the token like liberal. If this is CNN, you're the token conservative.
Sounds good. I'm the token Everton fan.
You're the token Everton fan, which I mean, I really want to get other fans on here and just kind of talk some trash and have some fun with it. So tell me a little bit about your show and obviously Whistle Pig Rye Whiskey. I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah. Well, you actually just described the show to a T. We are we are it's myself and a stupid gooner, my co-host Sam Graham, and we do a show where we drink a crap ton of whiskey. We very liberally use the F-bomb, and occasionally talk about the matches, but we're far more interested in black cats running onto the field, or Ashley Barnes kissing someone on the nose. If our teams lose, we do shots of Malort, which Malort is widely considered the world's worst alcohol. And that's a lot of our show. So if you're if you bring your extra set of skin when you're coming to listen to the DU show, it's a lot of trash talking, and we'll just deliberately make fun of people, especially if somebody does something on Twitter. Chris with the Bayou City Irons had busted my balls about continually mentioning the Manchester City loss 5-0. So now every show I make it a point to mention the Manchester City loss at the start of the year. So that's what we are as a T. And then as far as the job goes, I represent Whistle Pig Rye Whiskey out of Shoreman, Vermont, and I am the brand steward for the Mid-Atlantic. So that's Maryland, okay, Delaware, and DC. So I'm basically a fat guy that runs around the Mid-Atlantic talking about whiskey for the most part. It's pretty nice job.
So we probably should to switch names of our shows. You know, Fat, Drunk, and Stupid. You could just come on, and I mean, you should come on all the time.
Oh, that's me. Oh, that's totally me. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's see.
Drinking beer right now. So.
Oh crap! I forgot to get something out of the fridge. So yeah, here's these guys' show on at least their Twitter page. Yeah, I look forward to checking it out. And obviously, we kind of put this together just based on, starting a league, and part of American Hammers TV is starting a league specifically for Hammers fans, and just to kind of talk about, the team. And obviously, everybody does it for different reasons. But we obviously, this is something we just wanted to kind of put together and really talk about the league. And then somehow it's kind of evolved into continually just talk about fantasy football. So I thought it'd be great just to have other teams on here and other supporters, because everybody's got a different take on everything. So
we did that for a whole summer. In fact, that's how we had Chris call into the show, and then your Wolves contingent out there also, Paul, called into the show. We did radio interviews with them, and then we had local supporters clubs of different teams come in and sit in studio as well all summer long, just talking about everybody else's team. So it was
that's awesome.
A lot of fun. Very daunting,
awesome,
but a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, the biggest challenge for us is just finding Americans. With the time differential, that becomes a huge challenge. So when I saw you guys that were Americans, and then coupled with the word schmuck, I was like, I got to call these guys.
Thank you. Appreciate
yes.
it. Well, that's the idea of the show. And we're into our second full season of doing it. We did it all of last season as well. And the show's gotten great response. We got a nice following. It can always be bigger and better. But, for right now, there's people all over the world. We've been downloaded now in every continent except for Antarctica, which we do have a friend that's going to take care of that for us. But and all over the United States, we're in 38 of the 50 states we've been downloaded. So it's
that's great.
People are listening, and the big thing for us, it's all about interaction. It's talking on Twitter, it's talking on Instagram. It's
relationships.
Like this. It's having people email in, give their gambling picks of the week and all that kind of stuff, and just have fun with it. And it's meant to be barroom banter, and it's so I be as much okay. We're big boys, we can take it.
Yeah, you lost you for just a split second. Let me ask you this, and obviously Wally is kind of new to fantasy, and I mean, how much fantasy football do you guys kind of do, or is it just talking and a lot of shit and drinking?
Very, very funny story behind that. So we've done fantasy before, and we did the fan tracks, and I always kind of wanted to try to do fantasy soccer, like fantasy NFL or fantasy baseball, give a little more value to a complete roster. So, like, my dumbass gave a point for every pass. So then everybody picked up nothing but defensive midfielders. I think that year, like, Gareth Barry scored like 2,000 points. But so we weren't going to do a fantasy football league this season. And what ended up happening was my co-host calls me, says, "Hey, let's do a fantasy league." And I was like, if we're not going to do it right, let's not do it. Like, let's not just do it the week before the season starts and kind of, just throw people all together.
Yeah, you just half-ass it. Yeah.
I wake up in the morning to find out that he drunkenly at 3:00 at night decided to go ahead and start a fantasy league.
Wow.
So
a lot worse things you could do.
Yes, much worse things you could do. He was on vacation with his family, and he was just talking to a few of our people, and they goaded him into it, and he started a league. So we only have 15 people this time. I'd like to do something more where it's the draft style, where not everybody has Aguero or not everybody has Van Dijk. It's kind of force everybody to pick a team a little bit better. But it's been fun so far, and myself, I've only done this style of fantasy now twice, so I'm pretty inexperienced at it as well. But somehow I'm 4th place right now, so I'll take it.
Well, speaking of, and we're gonna pause for a commercial break. Well, actually, not pause. Just talk about something real quick, and I got to at least do some of these things. So one of the things that we did in our league was obviously we want to keep up with, who's winning, who's losing, and I really felt pity on the people that were at the bottom of the list, only because we had a lot of people. We've probably got about 200 and some odd people in our league, and this is the first year to really do a full composite of everybody. We've got West Ham fans from the United Arab Emirates. I've got Belgium, England, Ireland. I mean, it was insane the amount of people. Nigeria, Cameroon. I mean, it was insane how many people kind of logged on and participated. So we continue to have people join, but at least for the top, at least want to cover the top 4 on our Champions League, if you will. Barcelona FC, 96 points. That's pretty amazing. Happy Hammers, Jamie Thomas has had 56 and has got 331 points. Holler Nothing got 324 points in 3rd place. And Holly Worthington. Holly, I'm going to find you, and you're going to be on the show. God is my witness. You're coming on. So Holly's a great West Ham contributor in a lot of different ways. So we definitely would love to get her on the show. So real quick, tell me about, and I want to go through the league, or at least the games coming up. How did Everton do this week for you guys?
No, you know exactly how we did.
Not really. I get so focused in on my own crap.
We blew it. We lost at Bournemouth 3-1. The minute that I sat down in front of the TV, they mentioned, "Hey, if Everton wins this game, they'll be in 3rd place." And I went, "We're gonna lose."
And, I know the feeling. I had the same feeling on Monday. So
I tell you what, it's not exactly the result you would have wanted this weekend for your side, but your club a couple years ago loses that game.
A lot of people were pissed that they didn't win, and I was like, look, a year ago that team would have put the chairs in the wagon and went home and caved, and they didn't. So for me, that's a win.
Yeah, so Everton, 2nd loss of the season, both losses to teams on the bottom half of the table. We have 2 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw. We're currently sitting in 11th, and we host Sheffield United this coming weekend. I think Saturday. I think we're at the 10 o'clock game on the East Coast.
So, again, I don't know how much fantasy you get into, and Wally and I were talking about this before, kind of the overarching topic, and I want you to chime in on this, is the premium defenders. Everybody was like, hey, you got to draft all the premium defenders, and they all sucked. Is that the biggest, ruse of all time, or what's going on?
Yeah, well, especially with the wing backs, because what do we all want to do? We want to draft the wing back that's taking free kicks, that's scoring goals, that's taking corners because it's opportunity for assists, and in the long run they end up paying off. But the problem is they're not worth the valuation that particularly the Premier League site gives them. Which now the good news is everybody else sucks too.
Yeah.
So it's like, how many people in your league have have Van Dijk or Robertson or Alexander Arnold or Luca Digne? Well, particularly any of the if you have any of the city center backs, you're an idiot, because none of those guys, other than Laporte, who's hurt, are
Well,
really
John
worth a damn.
Stones just got put out 3 to 4 weeks.
John Stones thinks he's a striker. That's at least what he thought when he played for Everton.
Well, let's real quick. I'm going to go through, and we'll try to be as brief. And Wally, I'd love for you to kind of chat as far as chime in on what you think, from last week, or from this coming week. And we'll just kind of throw the game out there, and you say yes, no. I think this would be good. Here's where we're at. Southampton, Bournemouth. What do you think about Southampton, guys? Have you guys watched any of their games? Because they're playing a lot better than I think a lot of people thought they would.
What place are they in now? Are they?
Let's see here.
I think they're still near the bottom. I want to say they're like 14th or 15th currently.
Okay. They're 10th. They're 10th with 7 points. Southampton is 10th.
If there's one thing they are good at, they are consistently inconsistent. We talked about it on our show this week. The big thing that they've been able to do is win the quote-unquote 6-pointer type games. This win this weekend was against someone who's going to be at the bottom fighting with them. They beat Brighton at Brighton, so they seem to win the games that they need to win.
Yeah, it's kind of like West Ham. I'll give you that. Here's Everton right here.
Yeah, we're in 11th, I believe.
11th place.
Yeah, it's all really tight right now because
there's a big log jam.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
right in the middle.
8 points, 7, 7, 7, 6. I mean, that could look completely different after this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
repeat Man U, yeah. It's gonna.
So what do you think on that game this week coming up? Southampton and who did I just say? Bournemouth.
Bournemouth, yeah.
But is Bournemouth going to break out of that? Are they going to come to the realization of the teams, the players that they have, and start putting up stupid points?
I have Wilson on my fantasy, and I even started him against Everton because the guy has a nose for goal, and he has a nose for getting assists. He gets points pretty much every game he plays. And he's not expensive.
Yeah, and that is a thing as well. What about you, Wally? What do you think? Bournemouth going to start playing well?
I'm thinking Southampton's going to win that because they're at home, and that's about all I know. But
well, I mean, the thing is, it's so wacky this year. I don't think anybody's seeing what's really happening.
Right, it's too early, I think. But
Bournemouth never wins on the road.
Yeah,
Bournemouth's only good at home normally.
Yeah, they are good at home. So I'm going with Southampton.
Southampton. Okay.
Likewise.
Leicester hosting Tottenham.
Ooh. Wow.
That's actually a juicy one.
Yeah, that is. I would say Leicester, but because they just came off a loss, so they really need to get going. But they're playing Spurs, so I'd love to see Leicester win. But I think Spurs have got it in gear after what did they win, 4-0 this past week?
Yeah, I mean, it was,
I think
if you had any Spurs guys on your team, you did really well.
Yeah. The team was in chaos like 3 weeks ago, but, Pochettino was going to be out and all this, but they seem to have gotten it together. So I think I have to go with Spurs on that one.
The team is still in chaos. It's just Band-Aids and hopes and dreams.
Okay.
At the Vitality with the way, because even in the loss against United, Leicester still looked decent. I'm going to take a draw on this one. I'll say a 2-2 draw. because both teams can score.
And Jim Stebbins here has a great point. Spurs play Champion League tomorrow, so there's a chance for injuries, rest, all that. One more thing to kind of take a quick, commercial break. We want to thank our sponsor, drinkwaredesign.com. If you're looking for an amazing drinkware product, oh my gosh, where are they at? Drinkwaredesign.com. If the Drunkard United group wants to have their own mugs, go to drinkwaredesign.com. You can submit their own as far as artwork and get an amazing mug tailor-made for them. Drinkwaredesign.com. Again, American Hammers, Dallas Hammers, Drunkard United. Again, go check that out and check it out.
That design looks familiar. That logo looks familiar.
It is very familiar. Yes, it is. So let's go back to the games this week. Actually, one thing I was going to check out real quick is top transfers in and out this week, and I don't know if you guys want to comment on this as well. Everybody wants some Tammy Abraham. What do you guys think? Is that going to last, or is this just is he legit?
I don't know. Did he play today, or did they rest him? They had a champion. They lost in Champions League today, right?
I know Pulisic did not play, but I'm not sure about anybody else. So I'll have to look into that now. Everybody got back on the Pookie train. What about you guys? Did you still in on Pookie?
I'm laying off because the valuation is starting to get a little high on him as well. So I have got Aguero already, and I make him my captain, and he scores me a ton of points. So, not everybody in the league has him. So I just stick with that. Why bother changing? And then I'm convinced at some point Moise Ken's going to start playing for us. And for me, my steal, like I said earlier, is Wilson. I use Colin Wilson, and he gets me a ton of points every week. He's pretty much good for like 6 to 8 points every week.
I would take that every day. The one thing that I really have trouble with, and I've actually done this, is I have Pookie and Cantwell on my team. So I'm kind of looking at it going, I mean, I didn't play them both against Manchester City because I was like, there's no way in hell I'm going to play both of them.
Oh, yeah.
That was a mistake on my part.
Maybe Pookie sneaks a goal into that match, but that's about all you assume.
That's what I thought Friday night. Another top transfer in, which I think some people may be regretting that decision, is Mason Mount, who I believe got injured on a really ridiculously bad challenge from Valencia, and Son from Spurs. I mean, I think that guy's pretty legit, and I don't know why I didn't pick him up. The guys that everybody is dropping, Jimenez. Actually, on that note, and I'll get both of you guys comment on this. Are Wolves just in a bad place right now, or are they not going to be able to handle the European play? I'm really surprised that they're struggling like they are.
Talked about it last night on the show, and we had, in fact, we had Paul from Houston Wolves call in to talk about it. Pardon me, I have firsthand experience from this being an Evertonian. This is 7th place, and you have to start playing in July. Your team doesn't get a full workout. Next thing you know, you start the season. They're with 3 draws. You're like, okay, the win's going to come, and then you go to Goodison and you lose. And then you play the next game and you lose bad to Chelsea. You saw it happen to Burnley last year. You saw it happen to Everton the year before that. You saw it happen to Southampton the year before that. And you saw it happen to Everton again the year before that. If you are the last team and you have to play your way in July into the Europa, it always affects your league status. And a team like Wolves particularly, where, Nino only wants to play about, 15 guys. And so he's asking a lot of them. And then the Mexican national team is stupid enough to have Jimenez come back to the States to watch the win, which great, you can celebrate with your countrymen. But he didn't play a minute, and then he got sent back over. Why the hell didn't you just let him stay at Wolverhampton and heal and rest? It just didn't make any sense.
Yeah. What do you think, Wally? You feel the same way?
Yeah, I think Sam put it great.
I second that.
No, actually, I think that Europa League, they start the the group stages this week, but they've already had to play 2 sets of playoff rounds, so that's going to take its toll. So.
Do you think a lot of teams, that they obviously they're not going to get the top Champions League, and they're like, oh, we got Europa League. Oh, fuck! Now we got to go buy all these players because we're going to shit the bed this season, and they just don't have the money for it. I mean, am I wrong, or am I just playing FIFA and seeing
some do,
works?
some don't?
Yeah.
I mean, in our case, we have the money. Now we've spent it very poorly. Like 2 seasons ago, where we decided to buy every number 10, including Wayne Rooney, because that was a great idea. We were just going to play like 5 10s and a single striker and 4 defenders. But typically, there's a few teams that have the money to do it, Everton being one. Leicester, not so much. If they were to find themselves in that place, I think you guys would find money. Your club would find a way because your club, being a historic club in the Premier League, understands the importance of making Europa, and you're not gonna F around. You're gonna do it right. But with like the case of Wolves, they had the money to spend. Nino didn't want to spend it. Nino wants his 15-man squad, and that's gonna hurt him. That's gonna hurt him, especially come to FA Cup draw or something like that, and he loses to like we did, and I know this is a bad word to say to a couple of hammers, like a Millwall, in the third round of the FA Cup because he just he doesn't have the legs, and that can really demoralize a team too. It can really, really kill them,
and it can happen real fast. I mean, before you know it, you're up the river and you don't even know what happened. Real quick, kind of go through some of the guys that are getting dropped this week. Harry Kane, I'm not really sure about that one. Barnes from Burnley. Raheem Sterling, I've almost thought about dropping him. I really, really, really have. Just because I don't believe that he's putting up the numbers to justify that value. I mean, so you said that a second ago. I mean, the value just isn't there. I mean, what do you guys think about that? I mean, would you call me crazy if I said I'm going to drop Sterling?
He's going to score 20 goals this season, at least.
Okay, I'm stupid. All right, I'll stand it.
He's going to score at least 20 goals, and that's what you have to deal with a striker. They're going to go cold, and my team's going to suck for a month's period because Aguero's not getting any goals, and it's all Jesus getting the goals. It just you gotta be able, like, if you want to burn the roster spot in the transfer, but I'd say let him sit on the bench and find a value and let the value play for a little bit. Ride Pookie while you got him.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about Everton. Is there any players on that team that are good fantasy value that maybe a West Ham fan's not looking at, or somebody who is a novice, just playing with their heart and not with their head?
Right here, novice. I'm taking notes, Sam.
Richarlison. Oh, you're good. No worries. Richarlison, definitely. I think there's the potential to be, probably 15 goals in the league. Plays constantly. He's constant motor. He might see a red here or there because he is a bit of a hothead.
Actually, that's a good point. Not to interrupt you on the Charlton thing. I had him last year, and he was on fire. And then when he just completely went full retard, and he never recovered. I mean, what happened there? How can a guy be on fire like that? Sit out 3 weeks?
Formation change. It was we didn't have a true number 9 at the top, and Marco put him up there for a while. And while he played well up there, he wasn't getting the opportunity to score goals. It was lots of hold-up play and things like that. and there wasn't enough supporting cast around him last year at the time for it to be really successful. I mean, we were relying on Theo Walcott on one of the wings every time that Richarlison was up top. Now with Moise Ken and to a lesser degree Dominic Calvin-Lewin constantly playing up top, Richarlison's able to be on the wing, and that's where he's going to create. That's where he's his best. And the other person I would say definitely worth looking at is Luca Digne.
I've got him on my
he didn't
team.
score me any points this weekend. He is half the corners and half the free kicks with Gylfi. It all just depends on what situation it is. If it plays to his left foot, he's great down the wing. He gets the ball across. He's definitely going to get some assists. And for the most part, other than the game against Wolves where Traore made him look like a punk down the sideline on the first goal, he's a pretty stout left back. I mean, granted, Leighton Baines is at the end of his career, but Leighton Baines isn't getting a sniff of the field right now because of Luca Digne. I would avoid Gylfi right now.
I had him on team. I dropped him, and I think Jim Stebbins, who's chatted a couple times here, said he's either a feast or famine guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
He'll get hot for a while, but other than that, he's just pretty much just sitting around.
He's been absent this whole season so far. He just in the 10 role. It just feels like he doesn't have enough room to create. I wonder if maybe dropping him back into the midfield pairing and maybe let Alex Iwobi play behind him and throw Bernard on the other wing could probably do a little bit of help. But right now, there's nothing coming out of Gylfi, and I'd stay away from him just because he's a super expensive player, and I'd wait till maybe his value drops a little because nobody's picking him up.
Is Everton's priority? Is their priority for the Premier League, or do they go for the cups as well?
It's been since 1995 since we won a trophy, so any trophy will do.
Okay, sort of like West Ham then.
Yeah, it's you play reserve squads in the League Cup right now. You play a reserve squad in the third round of the FA, but as you start to win, that starts to become priority, definitely. Okay. And on a league table, it's always Everton's always been kind of called the best of the rest. They always say, the top six, and then it's Everton. Mm-hmm. So the thought is break the top six, especially in a season where Arsenal can't stop anybody from scoring. Manchester United is a complete S show, and Chelsea's young, so they're going to be inconsistent. So I mean, the league is there. Those spots are there for the taking for Everton, West Ham, Wolves, and Leicester. They're there. Fourth is for the taking. Now the problem is, get your butt kicked at Bournemouth, and that really doesn't look like sixth place is much of an option.
Well, let's kind of run through the rest of these games and kind of get everybody's thoughts on it, because I know you've been out and doing stuff. Burnley hosting Norwich City. I think Norwich that was an amazing game, but at the same time they had a lot of breaks. I mean, there was a lot of luck there. I mean, you got to admit. I mean, toward the end they were hitting right at the goalie.
If you've got Nick Pope, start him this week. There's one thing about Burnley. They're not giving up more than a goal. They probably aren't even doing that. They'll counterattack you twice, and Barnes and Woods will make you pay twice, and they'll beat you 2-0 at Turf Moor, and you'll be standing there going, how in the hell did we just lose this game? Because Burnley will Burnley you. That is what they do.
So they're just going to sit back, wait till you make a mistake, and then just snap.
Yeah.
They will not let Pookie get the ball like City let Pookie get his hands on them, get his feet on the ball. They're just not going to. They'll double him up the whole match. They'll knock him around. They'll be physical. They'll frustrate them. That's what Burnley does best. And they're great. And they're probably the best at it at home. They're always a tough out at home.
Well, I do know a team that has kept Pookie scoreless this year.
Yes, that would be you guys.
I am familiar of a team that did that. So I mean that film's out there. I don't know what happened, and I don't think it's a question of getting him. It's just not letting him get the ball.
Yeah,
don't let him get the ball. I mean, you lock down everybody else, and you're okay. Here's your game of the week. Everton hosting Sheffield United. Is this a big game for you guys? I mean, if you guys don't do well against them,
We gotta get a win. I mean, one win and we're right back up in say like sixth place again, like we were going into this past weekend. It will likely be a win. I'm gonna say like a 2-1 or a 3-1 to Everton. But the one thing that will cause us fits is the fact that I've been saying this about Sheffield United. They're kind of like that squirt soccer team where your coach takes the kid out and goes, "Okay, little Billy, you're playing center back. All right, little Johnny, you're playing right midfielder." And the minute the ball gets kicked, all 10 kids run towards the ball. That is kind of what Sheffield is. They are all over the field. Their center backs go all the way into the 18 of the attacking side. It's insanity. But you saw a team like Leicester settle it down real easy and counter-attack them, and they had no answer. I think Everton at home is very stout defensively. They should be able to handle it. But I mean, we saw with Chelsea that tenacity got them a 2-2 draw, 100%. And it's almost kind of like Blackpool from like 5 years ago, where they just came into the league and they were just this tornado.
I would really look forward to seeing Sheffield United play Arsenal.
Oh man, yeah.
I mean,
I would just
as
put
much
Mustafi
as
out there because it doesn't matter.
well, I mean, as much as Arsenal just like shit the bed the other day, playing from the back and couldn't even handle the pressure.
Yep.
Could you imagine?
Oh, they'd be in trouble.
Oh my God!
Yeah, but that game would end up probably being like 6-4. Arsenal would win.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because those front three can score. Oh my God, those front three can score. Those are guys that are value right now, I would say, even though they're expensive with Aubameyang, Lacazette, Pepe. Pepe, I don't believe has one yet, but he's gonna get one.
Well,
he's just
Lacazette's out right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, but sorry, I didn't realize Lacazette got
Yeah, yeah. So I mean that there's more chances to get the ball.
Mm-hmm.
What about Wally? What do you think? Everton, Sheffield.
Yeah, I think Everton would take that. They got a rebound from last week, and they'll be at home. So I would take Everton.
Manchester City hosting Watford.
Ooh.
Man, are those guys going to be pissed?
Yeah, they're
so sorry, Watford. I'm so sorry.
City's going to take it out on them.
Man, you were about to be somebody's bitch.
I was going to say, what's the over? 4.5? Take it.
Man.
That's going to be 5-0.
I think they score more than they did against the Hammers. Maybe 6.
Man, it is going to be bad.
Oh, they're going to be real pissed.
Yeah.
And at home, the fans aren't going to let them. The fans aren't going to let him get away with it. And they're going to put Fernandinho in the back, and he's going to help solve things, even though he's a midfielder. Because as a midfielder, he can defend better than any of their defenders can.
Next game here, I may slip my wrist if I had to watch this game. Newcastle United hosting, Albion, whatever, those jokers. Yeah, whatever.
Right.
Those suck. Yeah, that's got to be the worst game of the week. That's like the toilet bowl.
Yeah. I did Newcastle because they're at home.
Yeah, I agree. The home team will take that one.
Brighton missing their newest signing, the Belgian, I'm forgetting his name, got injured, the Belgian winger. And he was offering some speed and pace for their team. But the one thing that's happened under Chris Potter is they don't have the defensive intensity that they had with Chris Hughton. And that's even still with the same center back pairing. So Brighton's in trouble, especially when they lose games like Southampton at Brighton. Like, that's the team that's going to be battling you for 18th place. Like, you need to come away with those. That's points you need, and these are points you need. And with or without Rafa, these are the kind of games Newcastle knows how to win. They'll win. It won't be pretty. It'll be boring as hell, but they'll win.
Another game that I can't figure out if this is going to be boring or good is Crystal Palace hosting Wolves. I can't figure out Crystal Palace because I can't figure it out. Like, are they good? Are they not good? I mean,
yeah, they're up and down. Yeah,
it's very easy. Palace at home sucks balls. Palace on the road, world beaters. End of discussion. That is Crystal Palace in a nutshell.
Well, the one thing Crystal Palace has going for it is James Tompkins.
Is he playing?
And,
Or he's injured?
And Tim, well, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Tim, who is like the grand poobah of American Hammers TV, has a man crush on James Tompkins. And he is a West Ham guy. And Tim is really hoping for the prodigal son to return back home. So, he was on the bench last week, and everybody's laughing. But I really can't figure out Crystal Palace. I think Wolves are. I'd really find out. So, really, the Crystal Palace sucks at home. I mean, is that kind of?
Oh, they're horrible at home. This last year, at the second half of the season, they beat City on the road and couldn't win a home game the entire second half of the season.
Well, here I'm thinking
they're horrific at home.
Because Wolves have to play Thursday, right, in the Europa League, and they're using a small squad. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Palace. I think even if it's at home.
going against the grain here.
Yeah.
All right, here's the Hammer special. West Ham hosting Manchester United.
Ooh.
Well, I'll give it to the impartial.
Yeah, I'll be interested.
Yeah, what do you think, Mr. Impartial?
2-2 draw.
2-2 draw.
I think you'll pull what you did last year at Old Trafford. You'll get out to an early lead, and United will do what they do and just chip away at things. Now, them missing Pogba right now is a blessing and a curse because, while he's an absolute pain in the ass to deal with, he's still an exceptionally talented player. But the young guys are playing well. James has been doing fantastic. I think you guys will put them back on their heels at first, but they'll somehow figure out a way to get a point out of it. But I'm not joking when I said this earlier. The teams that were 7 through 10 last year, Wolverhampton, Leicester, Everton, and West Ham, have every right to the top 6 as Arsenal, Manchester United, and Chelsea do. There's every opportunity. It's just a matter of if those clubs take it, because the talent level is basically the same now. Now, there might not be the same kind of depth. There might not be the same kind of buying power, but your front 4, our front 4, Leicester's front 4 are just as good as Manchester United's front 4 right now.
Well, let me ask you this. Obviously, when you look at your team, and nobody thinks their baby's ugly, and nobody may think that their baby's, whatever. My point is, who do you look at West Ham and go, that guy's really good? Like, I wish I had him on my team. Is there anybody on that roster you look at and go, wow, that guy's really good?
Several. Sebastian Halle was a phenomenal signing for you guys. He's going to be a great point man. Your wings, everybody looks at Felipe Anderson. Arnautovic, if he didn't get hurt last year, he was really good on the other wing.
Mm-hmm. You mean Yarmolenko?
Yeah, Yarmolenko.
Sorry, my Arnautovic was the jackass holdout in China. Forgive me.
Right.
I'm jokingly called the name assassin on my show because I screw up names religiously.
Yeah.
Yarmolenko,
it's a gift.
my apologies. But Yarmolenko it's very unassuming. He's got a cannon in his leg, and he moves well for his size.
Yes.
And everybody pays attention to Felipe on the one side. He's able to really go through and do some good stuff on his side as well.
I would agree.
He's got a nice little lineup out there. You really do. And with Declan Rice and Noble holding down the fort, as long as there aren't injuries, as long as the squad stays healthy, there's, I had my doubts about Fabianski forever when he was with Arsenal and then with Swans. And honestly, the first couple of games he played last year for you, I was like, he's a bum. He's awful. He gave you guys that draw yesterday. He's turned out to be a fantastic
There's a lot of games.
Goalie.
He's my
goalie. He's my goalie on my fantasy team. I went with him and Heaton, and I play matchups, and 90% of the time the matchup's going to go with Fabianski. The only time I won't go with him is when he has to play a really, really big club, and then I'll go with Heaton if Heaton has a better option.
I really find it just, and I think Jim Stebbins, who's comment on here as well. People are on Twitter giving Declan Rice shit, and I'm like, why? Like, I don't get. I mean, I obviously I could say this as being in America and make a baseball reference. I think it was Fred McGriff. Remember Fred McGriff, Crime Dog?
Yep.
I remember him saying a quote one time. I don't know if I heard it or whatever. If you really want to know what a baseball player's value is or how good they are, flip over their baseball card. Numbers don't lie.
Yep.
And Jim pointed this out and really put the numbers to Declan Rice. He had a really good game. He does what he's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know what else you're supposed to do.
Defensive midfielder is not a sexy position. It's something that you watch on the pitch and you're like, oh, we need goals. We need to. No, his job is to shut down the other team's midfield and to make sure that he starts the offensive attack. That's his job. That's it. That's what he's supposed to do. Put in a tackle, cover 98% of the field.
Yeah.
A defensive midfielder's job, if 2/3 of the world are covered by water, the other third should be covered by a defensive central midfielder.
And a hockey reference, too. I mean, his job is to be a little shit.
Yeah,
that's his job. And
be an asshole.
Just be an asshole, get the checks, steal the ball, get possession back, start all over.
No? How do you shut down Timu Pukki? Declan Rice.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yep. There you go.
We got two more, and we'll kind of bring this party to a close. Arsenal hosting Aston Villa. Those guys impressed me, man. I'm serious. They're no joke.
Villa's good. I'm worried. I know the easy comparison everybody wants to do is say Fulham, because Fulham spent a lot of money and Villa spent a lot of money. This Villa defense should be stout enough to keep this game close. And going to Arsenal's going to want to put some goals on the board. I feel like this is a 2-1 Arsenal game, even though a draw wouldn't surprise me.
Do you think Arsenal is going to play a different way than what they did? I mean, the whole controversy, we played scared, we played from the back.
Oh, they're going to attack. They're going to attack. At home, they're going to attack. They're going to full-blown attack.
So
they realize they can score goals at will. The problem is they give up goals at will.
Well, but they were playing from the back and just terrible. Like, I mean, why not just think it over a couple of times and be done, and keep people guessing?
Guendouzi's very young. He's also very stupid. He makes a lot of mistakes with passes. He tries to overthink it. You can't always do that. Sometimes you gotta just get rid of the ball. And I think as he starts to learn that, or maybe you put Torreira in there instead.
What do you think, Wally? You think Arsenal's going to lay the wood to Aston Villa?
They're going to come back. Villa were a bunch of diving CUNTs, and I want to see them beat this week. So I'm going with Arsenal.
So the last one here, I believe this would be the game of the week. Chelsea hosting Liverpool. I can't really figure this one out. Like, is this Liverpool got beat today. I don't know if that was really, just an anomaly or what. Yeah. I mean, what do you guys think on that?
Logic says Liverpool wins this game, right? Liverpool's got to win this game. Liverpool's on fire right now, right? Yeah, and City was supposed to beat Chelsea in the first week of December last year because they were on cruise control, and the next thing you know, they lost 2-0. This game is either 4-0 Liverpool or it's 2-1 shocker to Chelsea. but judging what it's going to be, gun to my head, I'll say Liverpool as much as it pains me to say so. But I do have the solace in knowing that they've won as many Premier League titles as we have, and that in all likelihood they will choke away this 5-point lead that they do currently carry.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
So what do you think? Wally? You think the same thing?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards Liverpool. I heard Mason Mount got injured today.
Yes.
So he probably won't be available. But maybe Pulisic will be playing. I don't know. But I got to go with Liverpool, and I think Adrian will score a penalty. So.
Or he'll give up one.
He almost saved one today. He looked good today. He made some great saves for Liverpool. I watched that game.
So I'll leave you on this, and I appreciate Wally. Thank you for coming on. Thanks the Drunkard United. Thanks, man. I really look forward to checking it out, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Here's the last question.
We're on every podcast platform you could think of. Sorry for interrupting.
I'm gonna definitely go home and check it out tonight, and love to. Again, thank you so much for coming on. Last question. What is the team you hate the most?
Oh, I think we lost him.
We lost him.
Is it Spurs?
Is it Liverpool?
Oh,
we need some hand signals.
Can't hear you.
He's back.
All right, there we are.
What is the team you hate the most? We'll leave you on this.
Oh, it's Liverpool, no doubt about it.
Liverpool.
Copites are gobshites. F the Reds.
Okay.
I'm blue all day, and the one beautiful thing that I know is that last year, while they might have hoisted their 6th Champions League trophy, they didn't win the Premier League, and you know where they lost it? At Goodison Park. That's where they dropped their last point.
Suck it.
I will love that forever.
Well, we have the same thing in common.
Yeah.
Like we beat Spurs their first game, their first loss, and you're like, that's like the Super Bowl. Like, bam, we got it.
We took points out of Liverpool too, so we should have taken all 3. But
well, thank you so much, for coming on the show. I really, really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun to kind of, meet other people and other teams. And thank you so much for taking time out of your day.
Absolutely,
Sam,
appreciate it.
And Wally, thanks for coming on, brother. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Any of your listeners, if you check out the show, definitely reach out to us on Twitter. Everything on socials is at Drunkard United. Sam and I love to chat. I handle the Twitter, he handles the Insta. So reach out to us. We love chatting with everybody, especially during games. And we're very much an interactive show. So
awesome.
I call us the People's Pod, which pisses him off because it's an Everton reference. So it really.
So he's an Arsenal guy.
Yeah, he's a stupid Gunner.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Nobody's perfect.
We all.
All right. Well, thanks again, guys. We'll do the whole hammers thing. I don't know what you do. Just flip people off. I have no idea. What do you guys do? All right, so thanks for coming out, guys. I really appreciate it. Come on your irons and go Toffees. See ya.
Up the top.
Thanks.